Great. Well, I am here today with Miles from the band NITE, and they are coming to Jacksonville, Florida soon, and we wanted to have a little chat to get to know you a little bit before you hit the stage. So, thanks for
Awesome.
joining me today, and I appreciate it. So, can you tell me a little bit? Let's start with the bands. Let's get everybody get to know you guys. Let's start with the band's kind of origin story. Like, are you guys identical twins, fraternal twins?
Yeah. Well, I guess technically on paper we are identical twins, even though if we were side by side right now, you would see some subtle differences.
Right.
But I guess the scientific term is that we're monozygotic twins. So we started from the same zygote, and therefore we share more similarities than fraternal twins, but we're not mirror identical twins.
Gotcha. Interesting. I've never heard of that. See, learn something new every day. Um, and so, where did you guys start off at? Where were you born, and how did you? And where are you now?
Yeah, well, we are Canadians. We're born in Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada, and we moved down here in 1996. So we were living in Texas, and I live in Denton, Texas, a little university town or city now. And Kyle lives just south of me, like 30 minutes away, closer to Dallas.
Hmm. And what brought you guys from Canada to Texas? What was the move for?
My our mother is a nurse, and she got a job at Parkland Hospital, which is known for where JFK was taken after he was shot.
Oh, okay. Interesting. So, as you guys were growing up, what were your sort of you obviously had to have gotten influenced by some of the kind of new wave stuff from the '80s and
Yes.
alternative stuff from the '90s. So, and was it was it one of you led kind of influenced the other, or did you guys kind of organically find it together, or sort of how were your early influences formed?
Yes, honestly, I feel like our parents had both engineered us into our tastes because that we were, I mean, my parents aren't musicians, but they're very musical. They always had MTV playing. So we were obsessed with what music videos were currently playing in the 90s. And they also loved music like Billy Idol, a lot of like Eurythmics and stuff like that. We didn't get into The Cure and New Order until closer to high school when Kyle and I started doing our own musical discovery. But like a lot of the earlier adapters as In Excess, Billy Idol, The Cars, that kind of stuff.
Gotcha. And were you guys in sort of an alternative scene when you were in high school and stuff? Were you going out to clubs and
Yeah,
did you?
definitely.
Sorry, go ahead.
Also, I felt like when we were in high school, the thing to be in was emo rock music. So bands like My Chemical Romance, which we were okay with. We just didn't like explore that musical genre. At that time, bands like The Faint and Ladytron was so much more our thing. And actually, I felt like we were like some of the only kids in high school who even knew who those bands were. We hung out with the emo rock kids, but we have a local goth club here called The Church. And that we would,
Man,
our
that's
first time ever going there, I think we must have been 18. I think it was 18 and up. We went to go there to see Peter Hook from New Order DJ, and we got to meet Peter Hook. It was a cool event, and it happens every Sunday. So we would go, and that changed our lives too because that was a different experience than just a normal club experience.
nice. Actually, right above me back there is a signed print by Peter Hook from that DJ tour. So
That's awesome.
my magazine Movement is named after the New Order album. So
I love that.
yeah,
I love that album too.
yeah,
That's great.
it really is a fantastic album. It meant a lot when I saw that name on that cassette tape back in the day, and I was like, okay, this is the right name for the magazine. So when I was
Yeah, that's
searching
brilliant
for
idea.
something to title it, so
Did you get to meet Peter Hook on that tour?
oh, I did. We did an interview with him, and I did a cover of the magazine. I'll have to send you a link, but it's I did the cover to resemble the album. So,
That's awesome. I would love to see that. That's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah, it was great. He was fantastic, and we did an interview with him for this last tour as well when he just came through Florida last year. So when did you guys get into music then? Like playing music yourselves, like what were your first instruments? Like how did you sort of get into that? Were you in bands before NITE, before you guys formed? Were you in separate bands, or what was your exploration into getting into music?
Yes. Well, I guess we had some early piano lessons when we were kids, and I don't think we like really took to it. I think that we like piano music, and I think that we like playing keyboards. I just don't think that we like the structure of it too much. But we wanted to play guitar, so our parents did buy us guitars eventually. And by the time we were 13, we were learning guitar. 15, between 13 and 15, we started our own band, and you would never guess it, but the music was exactly the same. We were making kind of new wave rock style music. It was me and my brother, and we had a drummer, and we didn't have a bass guitar, so we played bass on synth. We played synth melodies, and then we had a guitar player, which would have been usually me, but we played musical chairs. And it was almost honestly not much different than what we're doing now. So since the age of 15, we were playing in small venues that were for underage kids. And one namely here called Fat Daddies that no longer exist. But that's kind of where all the Screeno kids would go, and we would be the only band that knew what a synthesizer was. And we got synthesizers from mowing lawns. We would knock on people's door, mow their lawn, and collect money until we had enough to buy a Novation X Station and or was it yeah that or it was a Korg micro Korg, which I think it was like $300.
Nice. So, what were your first shows like?
Our first show ever was at Fat Daddy's, and we were playing like our own original synth pop rock music. We would just invite our high school friends over. So I can't remember how many people were in attendance, maybe 50 or something. But it was a fun time, and a lot of kids would just go hang out there. I would go hang out there. There was a band that we really liked called Action Action. I think they're from New York, and they were kind of around like when it was right before the Killers even came out. I think the Faint was in full swing, and Action
Oh,
Action was a new wave rock. They played there a couple times, so that was probably the only synth band that we got to see live at the time.
nice. God, I love the Faint. I've photographed them and seen them live a couple times too.
Oh
They are.
yeah,
Were they an influence on you guys?
big time. We own every single album. We've seen them live multiple times. Great band.
Right on. So then, so how did you? What was the next step for you guys getting into the industry? Did you search out labels, or did you sort of go out on your own and hit the streets?
We definitely like when we were early teenagers, we definitely tried to get on to major labels. We definitely like reached out. It was the MySpace days, and we've got to meet some interesting people through MySpace, but nothing really connected for us. It wasn't until we started the band NITE and released an album, toured with some bands. We later signed to Cleopatra Records for a few albums, but now we're completely independent, and I feel like things are just fine, just being independent.
What are some of the advantages of being independent and having the label? Did you find?
I think for us, actually being signed to a label was a learning experience. And I think that we could take away things that we've learned, both positive and negative. And I think that the positives was just kind of understanding marketing, just like how would a label focus on that? What are they telling us? What works? What doesn't work? They have the years of experience. And I think that was probably the biggest takeaway. And also meeting deadlines, which we actually failed to do for the second record that we were signed to. But it was all fine and well. We put out two records through Cleopatra. And I think the disappointing thing is I think we expected so much more. I think that and COVID happening simultaneously
Oh,
definitely just kind of like, oh, we just expected much more. And then now nothing is happening. And that's at that point in time, that was the breakaway. Our term had ended, and we started to do independent releases.
and since then, you guys have been on the road with like a ton of other bands. It seems like some really good names. Like, what was the sort of catalyst for that starting? Like, what was the first band you went out with, and how did you hook up with all of these other bands to kind of start opening for them and getting that reputation?
Our first band ever to we went out with is a German band called Seabound. Are you
Oh,
familiar with them?
I have
So
a
we
booked them before. Yeah.
awesome. Yeah, they're great dudes. We did the West Coast with them, and a lot of times these bands we would meet just playing in our hometown. So we would open for these bands, become friends with them. A lot of our earlier tours are with a band called the New Division out in LA, and it just adopts from there. One of the bands we toured with quite a lot of bands last year, Dead on a Sunday being one of them. And again, we met them mainly through mutual friends, but also we opened for them in Dallas. And a DJ who's more in the pop EDM world called Mystery Skulls, who we had opened for last year, and that was incredible. But yeah, just literally opening for them, becoming friends, and they liked us enough to take us on tour, which was super helpful.
But I got the chance to see you guys live at the Absolution Fest by Communion After Dark and Indoxa Booking in Tampa, Florida, and that was just such a great show. Like, how did that end up? How did you end up getting on that bill?
Was this, I want to say, was this 2023, maybe?
Yeah.
That was because we were on tour with Empathy Test, and that was the band that we met at
Oh,
the
right.
church. We met them in Dallas. He was on tour. Isaac from Empathy Test was on tour with Aesthetic Perfection, and they were at the church, and we met them there, and that's kind of how we became friends.
Awesome. So then you end up, was he like, hey, there's this festival in, in Tampa?
Well, basically, he wanted the tour with us, and that's how we got on the festival. We were already in the tour,
Oh, I
so
gotcha. You were opening up for
and
them on that tour. Gotcha.
yep.
Well, that's exciting.
Yeah, we
He
loved it.
was
We love Absolution Fest. We've actually, I think we've done it 2 times, and
okay.
every time is amazing.
Nice. Absolutely. Right on. How far away has touring taken you from home? Like, what's the most exotic place you've been, I guess, say, or
For
um,
me, I guess
bucket list?
I mean, we've only been to the United States and Canada, and us being from Canada, so I guess nothing exotic yet. This year we'll do our first European tour, mainly Germany, and I would think if I had to pick the strangest cities, I mean, for me, I guess some shocks was playing in New York City for the first time, or bigger cities like or San Francisco, where it's nothing, it's not like Dallas or anything. It's just a different way of living, more people walking, there's more traffic, that kind of thing. Nowhere to park, I think was kind of that's exotic for us for now.
I've been to New York. I have never been to. I have not yet been to Texas, so I'm not sure what the difference is. But I get it. I kind of get it. It seems more compact, living wise, I guess. Um, so now you're on your fifth album, and you're putting it out there. How far are you touring with this one?
We had just completed a few tours, like we tour with Mystery Skulls, Dead on a Sunday. We've done a lot of our own shows headlining now, which is great.
Right.
So we've probably played over 50 something shows supporting the album, and we have more to come. We still plan on touring more this year. We have quite a few US dates already announced and a slew of European, and we're going to announce a lot more coming.
Oh,
So
that's
hopefully
great.
West Coast and East Coast combined.
And you're touring with. You're going to do a few Florida shows down here, which we're very excited about. You're going to be in Tampa and Orlando, and of course Jacksonville, and I think Atlanta as well. And you're coming in with now you've hooked up with Tough Turf for the opening act. How'd
Yes.
that happen?
That is just because I've discovered his music on Instagram. I have not met him in person, but I was like, I like your music, so come along with us. And he agreed to do it. And he suggested Jacksonville because that's where he lives.
Right.
And that's how the show came about. We actually didn't have Jacksonville originally on the tour routing.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll give him a thank you for that one for getting you in town. So,
Yes. Are you familiar? I guess he's local to you guys.
yeah, absolutely. I have talked to him a few times. He hasn't played many live shows around here, so it'll be a good time to catch up. So I haven't seen him live yet myself, but I
Very
look
cool.
forward to checking it out when you guys come through here. So, um, and you guys have collaborated with a lot of bands too. Musically, having you have a whole album of the Sleepless album you did, and then you did a remix album of Sleepless. And so, how did you sort of like pick those bands to do that?
It started with Twin Tribes, and I didn't think it was going to grow to be an album. We just did a remix trade with Twin Tribes, and it worked out so well. We started asking other friends that we've met through touring or just bands that we admired online. The New Division being one of them, and Mesh being a European band who we've never met in person, but we just like Mesh. So, but there's so many cool bands that just wanted to do it, and for a lot of those bands, we were able to give them remixes back. So that
Oh,
was
that's
kind of like,
awesome.
hey, we'll give you a remix, you give us a remix, and it was a lot of fun. And maybe we should do something like that again.
Yeah. Who have you done remixes for?
We've done remixes for Man Without Country, The New Division, Twin Tribes. Um, I'm blanking, but I know we've done a lot of remixes.
Yeah, that's really awesome. Um, and if you like had your choice of anyone, who would you like to remix the most, or who would you like to remix you the most?
I think I would personally like to remix maybe a band that recorded something in the 80s. We did a remix for an artist called Hawkwind, and it was really cool to hear those recordings, especially the stemmed out individual recordings, because the way they recorded back then was very different and it wasn't perfectly on a click. And I think that most electronic music is, and it was just so cool to work with something that felt really organic, but yet still put that in the electronic dance realm. And I would love to do something like that for I mean, any like New Order, Human League, I mean, you name it. I would love to do something like that. Uh, but as far as us being remixed by somebody else, uh, that's a tough one. I mean, I guess like I'm really enjoying a band called Health. They do a lot of cool. They have
Okay.
amazing production. I think that would be kind of cool to hear our music imagined in their world.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Speaking to the writing process, like how do you guys work in the studio together as brothers? Is there any sort of sibling rivalry, or does one take the lead on sort of writing the songs, or vice versa? Or what's your sort of process?
I guess there's a little bit of competition. I think there's not a rivalry, but we're definitely trying to make the best song we possibly can. But Kyle and I, we work a lot together, but not in the same room. And oftentimes we'll be sending each other clips of our songs, not fully fleshed out thoughts, and then we just criticize each other until the song is good enough to hopefully share with people that might like it.
And then outside of the band, what do you guys do in your spare time? Any sort of notable hobbies or things outside the band that pique your interest?
Yes, Kyle is a dad, and he has two daughters,
Oh
so he
wow,
can't join us today, which is why he can't do it. His
gotcha.
hands are literally full. And for our both of us, we've gotten into doing some commercial music production stuff, like writing music that hopefully gets placed on a commercial, which we've landed some really cool commercials, and that's been super helpful for this band financially. And I guess I used to teach music lessons, but right now I'm taking a bit of a break from that just because of all the travels. It's kind of hard to keep a class of kids if I'm going to go in and out of town all the time. So. But right now, our main focus is just being musicians and focusing on production. And but yeah, we'll just see where that takes us.
Your sound is so unique for the goth scene, I guess, or the goth industrial scene. It doesn't seem to it fits, but it doesn't fit. I mean that in the best way. It is very 80s, but it's also very it has a lot of 90s influence and stuff as well. Are you surprised at the response from that particular scene for your stuff? Was that kind of the scene you expected to get into or respond to you so well as they have?
That's a super interesting question. I actually would love to pick your brain on it more. For us, I think that yes, it was kind of the audience we were expecting, just because ever since NITE started playing shows in 2013, if you hear that album, it's not too far off from an early Cure record or anything like that. So a lot of our favorite bands are in line with people call the goth scene. And I don't know if we're like making music to sound that way, because like you said, it's very 80s sounding. I guess I'm not surprised where we are and our community of fans and people who support our music. I'm not surprised. I do think that there are other people outside of the goth scene who are unaware that there is a scene or a subculture happening and that they're getting introduced to it by coming to our shows because they're seeing all different types of people coming to them. So, but that is a really interesting question.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like your music is more commercially accessible than to a wider audience than just the goth scene because, like, it's a more upbeat. It's not following that kind of current trend of bands who are sort of like I think what She Wants Revenge started. They
Yeah.
sort of started this like bass driven post punk kind of dark, heavy, brooding music, and you guys are kind of like you know, curly hair and like rocking the suit jackets, which I love. And then, and also, and it kind of more of an upbeat synth driven sound than, ministry with sympathy versus ministry twitch. It's it's a,
Yeah, totally.
you
That
know,
I love that you're saying that because it's something that we've talked about, and it's not something that's super intentional, I think we generally kind of do like pop music. I think we do just like we love bands like Hot and Freddie currently, or Nation of Language. So a lot of these current bands or cut copy. I mean, I can name you a ton of bands that I love that are synth-driven pop
sure.
music that are inspired by 80s. Some of these bands do dip into the dark realm. I think our music, because it's darker than the bands I just mentioned, I think that we are there because of it, because our music is so emotional and dark. It's just not, like you said, like it's not She Wants Revenge where they might like hold a note for like, a couple of measures longer than a
Right.
pop record would allow it, I guess.
Well, I think there are bands like that. I think another band, Urban Heat, is having that same kind of
Yes.
situation where they're not goth, but they are so embraced by the goth scene. They play the goth nights, they
Yep.
tour with the goth bands, but they're sort of like an anomaly in the kind of musical format or musical kind of map that's been laid out for that scene by a lot of the bands these days. So, which is good because it makes you a standout.
I
Um,
love that's exactly what's I think that's what helps a band like Urban Heat stands out too, just because they are very different and they did a tour with Molchat Doma, and I think that they sound so different. But I think that at the same time, it somehow works together. And if you think about like a goth night or a goth club, they can spin anything from Skinny Puppy to Bizarre Love Triangle from New Order, or a very happy song from The Cure. And that band, The Cure, obviously has a wide range of sounds and identities and eras throughout
yeah,
his career. Like you can't just pick one album and it sounds like the next one. It's just everything is he's always evolving.
yeah, exactly. So I mean, so it's great to have you guys. You sort of you really appeal to a larger audience, which is a great thing for you guys, and I definitely hope that continues. And you've done some like unexpected covers, like your Alice in Chain covers of Wood. That was,
Well, thank you.
I really didn't expect that, and then I heard it, and I was like, wow, this is really, you know,
Thank you.
this is something else. So what inspired that cover, and have you done what other covers have you done, or would you do?
Okay. Well, Wood came about around the COVID era lockdown. I actually kind of shunned grunge for my life. I always thought like the radio, what was forced upon me as a teenager, it's like all they're playing is just old music. There's so much great new music. Why aren't they being played on the radio? But come to lockdown, I needed something new, and I decided to give it a chance. And I'm very familiar with Alice in Chains, but I never really gave them a chance and sat down with it. And the song Wood really spoke to me. I felt like when I was listening to it, I'm like, I could hear Joy Division play this song. I can hear Depeche Mode play this song, and it would just be done differently. It wouldn't be driven by guitars. It would be possibly driven by a bass guitar because that bass line is legendary for the song Wood. But we just synthesized it and kind of brought Nine Inch Nails and Depeche Mode influences onto our track. And I'm very happy with how it turned out. I know some people, a lot, especially the Alice in Chains fans, that they're anti-80s, maybe they're anti-synth because it's not live or however they perceive it to be. But I definitely think that music is universal. And if it's a good song, it could be written for any genre, for any kind of person. And that's what we did with Wood. As far as other covers that we've done, we recently put out Burn from The Cure.
Ooh.
And we also synthesized that as well. We're also big fans of the Pet Shop Boys. And I think that was kind of like putting some Pet Shop Boys influence in there, more synth pop influence. We love the song Burn. It's perfect as it is. And when we cover a song, it's because we really love it. And if we're going to sing it, we have to mean it. And I think that, uh, like Wood, for instance, I think that those lyrics really spoke to me in that time of my life. And I think I guess we sing it like it's our own song, is what I'm trying to say.
Right, that's awesome. And you've gotten some crazy popularity most recently, I think, because you've hit some milestones on like Spotify and Bandcamp and stuff where they've officially recognized you. So how did that hit you guys?
I think we're still kind of not I don't think we fully understand. I mean, I think it's an amazing thing. I think we're just like, how did it happen? We've been a band for over 10 years. I think where it started really was we went viral on Facebook of all places over and over again. I think we released like 7 videos in a row that got over like hundreds of thousands of views. One of them, I think, or maybe a few of them had over 1 million. And I noticed that around that time, we were on tour, and around that time, we got placed on a Spotify official playlist, the Spotify Goth and Dark playlist, which has tons of followers on it. And it was just a snowball effect. And I think that it was just because of the viability, because we've been touring, and because uh, the Spotify thing happened. And I think that's probably why we had so many eyes on us all at once. And we didn't expect it. I just think it was just a nice, you know, blessing gift. It feels amazing, but yeah, just I don't know how much we fully understand what's happening. I just see big numbers, and I think that we're just excited. We're grateful that people are listening, and we're getting lots of lovely messages from Bandcamp and Instagram or whatever, and people are resonating with it, which is awesome. It's more than we can ask for.
Nice. Yeah, I noticed one of your tracks, I believe it's All Your Pain, had over 1.5 million plays so far, so which is
Yes.
amazing. So congratulations on that.
Thank you so much.
So, and we're looking forward to seeing you guys. You're going to be kicking off the Florida leg of the tour with Jacksonville on May 27th, and then you're going to go be in Tampa, Orlando, Atlanta, and Charlotte in the Southeast, and then you're playing. You said you're planning other expanded tour dates after that.
Yes. So I guess after that run, I think is Europe time, but then we'll have more shows to announce when we come back for sure.
Are you making any time along the way to write new music?
Yes, that's actually what I was doing today. So we're slowly writing, and we have another collab song. We just dropped a collab with Dead on a Sunday, and we have another collab with him that we'll release, I think, in April, and that comes with the 7-inch vinyl. So it was a lot of fun. He's a good Ross from Dead on a Sunday is a really good friend of ours, and we've played so many shows together. And hopefully we can do more collabs. So, but yeah, a lot of new music to come.
Right on. Well, we're looking forward to it, and we will see you in Jacksonville on May 27th.
Thank you, Max. I look forward to meeting you in person.
Absolutely. Thanks so much.
Yeah.